Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Time to have a few laughs. Let's do it. Sam Morrill's here with us. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. It's a weird time, and I'm sure for you as a comedian, like you're used to being in front of people and not in isolation, so it must be pretty strange.
It's pretty weird. So many weird things have happened, but I started dating a girl. I'm in Los Angeles, staying with her. She's a comedian. Like, if you told me like a year ago that I'd be wiping down groceries with her in like a dream, I'd be like, "What the hell was that?" So the fact that it's real is pretty crazy.
How long has it been since you were in front of a crowd doing stand-up? Like, when was your last performance?
God, I think it was Sunday, the 8th or something of March. Which is making me so sad to say out loud, but I was in Royal Oak, Michigan, and then I flew in a night early to LA, and I did a show at Haha Cafe or something. I don't know what it was, but it was fun. I would perform anywhere right now. I would, if they gave me a mic in the grocery store, I'd be like, I'll risk it. I miss it so much.
It's like all those places you did in the beginning of your career that you wouldn't want to do anymore. Like, you're like, church basement, yeah, let's do it. Or this random club, absolutely.
I never did a church basement. I did some weird Jew gigs for sure.
Yeah?
You know,
Like, what was the weirdest gig you did?
So many weird, restaurant gigs or weird benefit gigs where they're like, it's my birthday. And it's like one guy likes you because it's his birthday and everyone else is like, what the hell is this guy doing with a mic in a restaurant? So, they do the shows early on in your career called ambush shows, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're in a bar, people are eating or having a drink with coworkers, and then someone just shows up with a mic like, all right, guys, you ready for some live comedy? And they're all like, no. And like, all right, well, here's your first comic. And you can't even get mad. You're like, what's your problem? Didn't expect a show to pop up during dinner.
You just got to roll with it. You have no other choice.
It's insane. So yeah, I would do it. I would do it anything now. I miss that rush so much, even bombing anything. I don't know.
When did you end up doing your last special? When did you guys film that?
We filmed it in December, and thank God I filmed it because it was one of the things where I was like, do I film it? Do I wait till someone buys it? And I'm so glad I filmed it now because, I'd be going crazy sitting on this hour now. So thank God.
How long did the most recent hour take you to put together?
It probably took me close to 2 years, but then also I was burning other material along the way. Like, I'd post a lot of topical jokes. So, I didn't used to do that. So I'd say, yeah, it took me about 2 years to put together. But I dump a lot of jokes as well.
And I think it's pretty interesting because, like you said, nobody bought it. Like, you guys just did it on your own. So what was the most interesting part of that experience?
I think you just got to believe in it, and you believe that people will like it. And, a lot of networks are just in it to protect themselves, and they don't take any chances. Look at the movies that get made. Think about how many great movies aren't being made right now. And they're like Transformers 8. And you're like, all right, but I bet there's a hot indie script someone's sitting on right now. So you got to believe that even though someone's not buying it, I do this every night. I work hard. I feel like I paid my dues in this business. So I believe in the product, and you just got to hope that other people will like it and share it.
Do you think the gatekeepers are toughest to deal with? Or like, what do you think are the biggest challenges of comedy right now?
Geez, I don't know. I like to see you're sitting right behind a CBS logo. And I'm like, do you think the industry is tough? Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think they're tough. I don't think they're really willing to take many chances. I think they have no taste for the most part. And I think they go which way the wind is blowing. So if something seems hip at that moment, and I use the word hip instead of good on purpose, because if something feels like it's cool at the time, they're like, it's like they're like poker players, like everything on hip, everything on white guy who wears flat brim hat with no punchlines, and you're like, all right, you don't want a comic who's paying their dues, So I think they go with what they see as shiny rather than what they see as good.
Yeah, and then at the same time, like, you can still do the club thing, and obviously there's people there that are controlling stuff, but like, at least you have the pure interaction of just dealing with people. So like, specifically in New York, like, what are some of your favorite spots in New York you like to perform?
Well, that's the thing, is like a lot of these great comics are in there paying their dues at these great clubs like the Comedy Cellar or, New York Comedy Club's great, Gotham. I don't know, so many good clubs, but and on the road, and these good comics, there's so many killers right now who can't sell a special. I say killers as in comic because if you're a serial killer, you can get a true crime on Netflix in a heartbeat. But these amazing comics can't sell a special. And, you know, if someone's like in a movie, they're like, this guy, he does stand up once every 2 years. So, you know, it's weird like that. I got to imagine if you're like a great musician and you can't sell a record and you see Jeremy Renner in a band commercial, you're like, screw this guy. You know?
You're like, what's going on here? This isn't right.
It's not right.
No, definitely not. So when you think about your career, like what's it been like building out? Like take me back to like the early days. Like when did you realize this could be your thing?
I was probably 18 or so when I first got on stage, and I just graduated high school. I took a class at the comic strip, which I don't recommend in general, but for me, it was a good experience. I really liked the guy who taught it. He was very, his expectations were low, which I think is very key. Just keep there were teachers early on who were like, 6 months, I'll get you on Letterman.
Oh my gosh, come on.
I know, but if you're a young comic, you're like, maybe I'm the one who slips through the cracks.
You're like, yeah, this could be me. Here, take my money. Like, let's do this thing, right?
It's messed up to screw with someone's dreams, you know. So I was grateful that he just encouraged me to go. I was a young, dirty kid who all my jokes were about drinking and sex, and he's like, hey, just try to go cleaner because you could probably do a good job going cleaner. And it was good advice because he said all my favorite comics who work dirty can also work clean. So that was, I thought, some of the best advice.
What was the hardest part about making the transition from the dirty stuff to the clean stuff?
I think it's just at a certain point when you're a brand new comic, you just kind of say whatever's funny, you know, whatever hits. You're kind of like, well, this is my act, you know, and then, or at least I was, and then you get a little older and you want the jokes to be a little more true to how you actually feel or see the world. So I would just say kind of outrageous things when I was younger to get a response, especially when you're performing in clubs. You want that reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And or then when you're in the alty Brooklyn-y rooms where they just kind of stare at you and they're like, I see what he's doing, but they don't laugh at all. And you're like, give me something, I'm dying. So I liked to kind of shock people because at least I felt something. I mean, I wanted the jokes to be good too, but now it's got to be just, if I go there, it's got to be worth it. Yeah, and it didn't used to be that way for me.
So what were some of the big early experiences where you're like, all right, this is pretty cool that I'm doing it? Was it like a club, a late night performance, anything like that?
I think you get little tastes. I remember Colin Quinn once said you get just enough to stay in comedy. You just get just enough. So that's how I felt. I guess, you know, opening for some bigger acts early on, you know, like touring with like Amy Schumer or opening for Jim Jeffries or opening, you know, doing Conan early on was big. That was the first late night I think I did. So anything where you can kind of where you get a taste, you know, and then you want more because you're like, right. Wow, that felt pretty cool. I'd like to do this more regularly.
Definitely. So we talked about some of the challenges about comedy. What do you like the most about comedy at this point right now?
Jeez, I mean, you picked a weird time to ask because.
Well, yeah, I mean, all things considered, kind of a tough time. But like in the digital age that we're in right now, like outside of a freaking pandemic, what are some of the things you like?
I like that I don't need the industry as much as we once did. I mean, at some point, I'd still like them. I'd like to have them, but I think when you keep putting out good stuff, someone will take notice. So I think you got to believe in yourself and bet on yourself. And there's no timeline for everybody. So I like that in this time. Before this pandemic, at least I could tour like crazy and just get my stuff better and better and then do it myself. So that's pretty damn cool that I can just post clips online. And that's kind of how I built whatever fan base I have on the road, is just posting clips and people shared them.
How many shows a year were you looking at?
I mean, I would be on the road anytime they'd let me for the most part. So I would kind of almost every week, I would say.
I gotcha. Yeah, and you need to get in front of a microphone every week in order to keep things sharp.
It's, you know, I wouldn't be in Naples, Florida if there wasn't a microphone there, you know? So you go where the work is.
I hear you. How long did you do the MSG show for?
That was for 2 seasons. So, you know, that was a fun experience. I got to meet all kinds of cool people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, as a New York guy, what was the coolest part of that experience?
I would say, you know, some of those 90s Knicks were so damn nice. Sprewell, Starks, you know, Allen Houston was such a nice guy. It was pretty cool. I mean, I'm a city kid, so it meant a lot to, you know, just schmooze with those guys. And I think I think they understood that I respected them so much that it was a cool experience. I had guys on that I never thought I'd have a sit down conversation with Evander Holyfield. You know, I mean, one of the greatest fighters of all time. Just chatting me, just couldn't be a nicer guy. So what an experience.
That's nuts. And that was also when the Knicks were good too. So it's nice to think back to those times as well.
Well, yeah, that's they weren't good when I was there. That's for sure. It's tough, and I'm as delusional a fan as they come. I
Oh
believe
yeah,
they're going to figure it out every year, but you
it's
know,
rough times.
it's tough being a Knicks fan. Yeah, I was watching a '90s game last night on YouTube, and you're like, that says it all. I can't watch one from this century. They've been that bad for the last 20. You know, like the last time the Knicks won, the games were like barely in color.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, you know,
rough.
when they're promoting like the Carmelo 53 win Knicks team, then it's pretty bad, pretty bleak, right?
That was a really cool team, but it's one
Yeah,
year.
I
It
know.
was one year, and I mean, goddamn, I love that team. But then,
Oh, completely. And then it was just like next year, nope, not happening. Yeah, it's a bummer.
yeah, the Jeremy Lin 2 week
Yep, that was a
phenomenon
great high, also,
period.
right?
It was like it's like being a drug addict, where you're like you get a taste, and you're like that time was good.
Yep. Let me keep trying this, even though it's really dumb. But I'm gonna keep doing it.
It's just painful. I miss the NBA too. I mean,
Yeah,
comedy is my favorite thing, but then basketball is kind of my escape to just watch basketball. And it's like, God, they're both gone. I guess I'm like, we're all living in the past. We're all kind
I
of like
know.
watching old movies, and you know,
You watch anything good recently?
of course, we watched. My girlfriend and I watched Tiger King, and that was a great 7 hour
Unreal,
distraction.
right?
I love a good true crime, so I'm
Yeah,
always down. We've been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because it's just we
classic.
need
Yeah.
something silly, you know. She's never seen it, she's loving it. So we watched a lot of Peep Show. I don't know if you've ever
Mm.
seen that show on
No, I haven't seen that
Amazon.
one.
Old British comedy, guy made Succession. It's incredible.
That's awesome. So I interviewed your girlfriend probably a few weeks before everything shut down. Her special is unbelievable. So what's been like dating her and seeing her special and everything?
Um, you know, her special's great. It's been fun living with her. I think we're going through the same stuff.
Yeah,
You know, it's been kind of tough for both of us. Yeah, I got her. I'm in her apartment. I got her a little thing
I
right
see
there.
it. Yeah, yeah.
But I think we're both dealing with our same our same issues right now of like, man, I'd love to be touring and getting good right now, but we've been making content together, and that's been keeping us busy and keeping us engaged. And you do whatever you can and not lose every muscle comedically, but this is not who we are as comedians. We're stand up, so it's tough.
I feel you. So if people haven't checked out your comedy, what are some big things like when they check out the new special? What are some big things you want them to be thinking about?
You know, I think I hit a lot of hot topics in this one. There's like Me Too jokes and jokes about guns and school shootings, and then there's some weird stories. It's just, I think it's a lot of stuff that's maybe of the moment, but also I don't think it's going to really age badly
Hmm.
because I think these things are going to keep being issues in America, unfortunately, you know? So a lot of hot topics, some fun stories, and tight writing. 47 minutes. There's not a lot of fat in there, so I think it's a quick, easy watch, and you know, there's a couple darker jokes in there, but I also think like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's too offensive. I mean well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you got to get a little dark. You got to push the line like that. That's what comedy is. That's what comedy has always been. So you guys are supposed to play that role, and we're supposed to either love it or react to it.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about the jokes. Like I've definitely done jokes in the past. I'm like, that one might not age very well, you know. But these, I feel like, I think they're pretty strong. We'll see. Uh, it's my favorite special I've done, and I think the next one after this will be even better. I think that's just how it goes. If I can get on a stage again in my life, you know.
No doubt. Well, Sam, thanks for hanging out, man. Be well, and we'll talk to you down the road, all right?
It was nice talking to you. Thanks for having me.